Hi, this is Linda from North Central Texas. I think today I'm going to show you how to propagate some knockout roses. Been meaning to do this for a while now. And I first need to cut some of these rose bushes. And I don't want to get the biggest pieces, but I don't want to get the smallest ones either. So, and when you get them, that piece right there is perfect because it's got a little Y-shaped. You just trim off all that other stuff. You trim off all of the leaves. And you're left with a piece basically like that. And I'll get the stickers off of them too. Some of them you can probably get several cuttings off of. Like this one, I'll probably get 2 cuttings off of at least. Because like I said, you don't want the smallest stem and you don't want the biggest one either. About like that is pretty much what you want. There's no need in leaving all of that stuff on there because it's just wasted. If they're too small, they're not going to root. And if they're too large, they're probably not going to. But you get the idea. And usually I'm cutting the roses back anyway this time of year. So see, just about like that is good. Probably about 5 or 6 inches. These other ones are just too small to use. Yeah, my roses need to be trimmed back anyway, so. But this is the one. This is the biggest rose bush I've got. So it was the one I cut last year to propagate the rose bushes off of. And they're the ones that I planted out along my property line. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7, 8, 9. I'll clean up that later. I got enough that I can go back here and show you. One thing that I didn't do, I forgot to get my little knife. Someone have to go in the house and get that. You just have to bear with me. I'll try not to make you dizzy. And this is the way I do my blackberry, my raspberry bushes, and all that as well. So, if you get your rose bushes to, you go to do your rose bushes, then you can do raspberries, not blueberries, but raspberries and blackberries the same way. I'm usually always doing the rose bushes because I wanted get this thing situated here so you can see what I'm doing. But first of all, I need to open my potting mix. And I'm using just regular old potting mix. You can use Miracle Grow. You can get the stuff that was cheap, kind of like I showed you that I bought from the dollar store. Any kind of good potting mix will work. The trick is getting it in there. And I fill it up because usually when I water it, it's going to go down a little bit anyway. And I've just got my bags of potting mix down here on the ground. I didn't want to have to move the camera too much because I'll just make you dizzy. One more and then I'll be able to start showing you how I do it. And like I said, it's the best thing to water down your pots first. And I got holes in the bottom of them, so they're dripping down to the ground. And I take rooting hormone. You can buy it in just little bitty containers, bottles. This is Bontone 2, or Bonide. Speeds rooting development. Now, one important part is to take your knife and just kind of score the very bottom, or basically just kind of peel that outer layer off, because usually that's where your roots will start to develop. You don't have to do too much of it, but you want to do a little bit. And then basically stick your stem down in the rooting mix, the powder. And I like to make a little hole and then just stick my cutting right down in there and then just push it in. You want it down in there a couple of inches because you don't want it like up at the very top. And again, I'm going to score that. Just peel it off just a little bit, a couple of places. And I'm going to do it up there a little bit. And there's actually like a nub, a joint right there. I like to keep one of those under the ground, under the dirt. I just take a spoon and make a hole. Now this is how I rooted all of my little rose bushes last year. I just did them just like this. And I don't think I lost, but I think every one of them actually rooted. So I didn't lose any of my rose bushes in the pots. I did lose a couple of them, like I said, you know, after I planted them, because the armadillo dug up one and ate the roots, because they love the fresh little roots. And see, I just dip it down in there and get that powder on there. Put it right down in the hole. I may not have enough of these to fill this container up, but it's enough that, you know, you can see what I'm doing. You can get an idea of how to root them. I mean, you can see I'm just barely shaving off a little bit of that outer bark on that rose bush, on that rose stem. Because that's where your roots are going to form. And I leave them in my little greenhouse here all winter. You have to keep the dirt moist while they're rooting. And then by the spring, I'll have little rose bushes to plant. I mean, you can take them and put them in bigger pots until the plant gets a little bigger if you want. But once they have roots, you can plant them right in the ground. And like I said, I do my, sweating already. Trying to show you that. I hope you can see it. Lighting's not too good in here. But I wanted to do it in here so I'd have the shelf to work with. Yeah, just stick it in there and put it around, get that little bit on there, and I wanted to have enough rose bushes to plant on my property line. And I've got some on there now that go the length of the property line except for the very back. But I'd love to have them closer together. So I'm going to go ahead and root these. And maybe another flat of them as well. So I can fill in where I've already planted them on the property line. And also go to the back of the property line with them. Like I said, you can take cuttings from your raspberry bushes or your blackberry bushes and basically do them the same way. Because every little place where you score that stem, that's where the roots are going to try to come out of. And you might say, well, that's not enough to root anything. That little bit of powder is all you need on there. And I'm going to have to go cut some more to finish up this flat. And then I'm going to go ahead and do another flat of them. But I'm going to keep them here in my greenhouse all winter long. Just come out here and check them once in a while, make sure they're watered. And like I said, by the springtime, I'll have rooted rose bushes in here. And like I said, every one of them that I did last year rooted. But I did lose a couple of them after I planted them. But that was because the armadillo dug them up. Because the armadillos love the real fine roots on any kind of plant. And they wanted the moisture from the dirt. So they dug my rose bushes up and ate the roots off of the stem. And I had to but I went ahead and replanted 2 more rose bushes out there on the property line. So, and they seem to be doing okay. The armadillo hasn't bothered them yet. So we'll see what happens. So far he's been going in the rock garden out there, rooting up the rock garden. But anyway, that's the way we stand right now. But you see, that's all you got to do to root them. And you cut all the leaves and the stems off is because you don't want the stems and all those other leaves and all that upper growth draining all of the nutrients out of the soil, because you don't need it. You want everything to go to the roots. And then later on, you'll see new leaves starting to come out. And when you see the new leaves starting to grow and that little cutting starts to grow new leaves and little stems, you know it's rooted when it starts doing that. So I'm going to go out here and I'm going to cut some more cuttings and go ahead and see if I can put them on the